Hey, Myron Golden. I love having these type of private, intimate conversations. I like being in the green room, man, because I can talk to you freely, except for several thousand people who always arrive early and want to be behind the scenes on our conversation, man. But so I
Exactly.
don't have to read your long bio. They're going to go Google you, by the way, and we sent it out. Take a moment, if you would, and tell us a little about who is Myron, because the whole world don't know Myron, the doctor, PhD himself. And what are you up to these days, my man?
I'm Myron Golden. I am a husband, a father, and an entrepreneur. And I teach entrepreneurs how to grow their business, multiply their business revenues. And I teach them how to do that using principles that came straight from the pages of scripture.
Now, what can the folks kind of expect on this particular episode? I know we're talking about mindset, we're talking about beliefs. Take a moment and share the conversation you and I were having behind the scenes, and what can they expect on this particular episode?
Well, they can expect to get a different perspective than the one that they're getting from the media, than the one that they're getting from the government, than the one that they're getting from all the people who are in panic mode right now. Because literally, while everybody else is panicking, we are getting paid. And what we're doing is we're showing people how they can take their life to the next level. And we're not sitting on the sidelines waiting for somebody to come and fix the situation for us. We're actually capitalizing on everything that's going on in the world right now.
Now, what do you say to the person out there right now? And I know we're going to get into it in a few moments. The person out there that's saying, "Hey, Myron, I've got a lot going on right now. I've got a family. I'm working from home right now, which is an adjustment for me.
Hmm.
Myron, I've got kids that I've got to make sure they're doing what they need to do in school right now, by the way. And there's also a whole lot of uncertainty that's out there in front of me. And so why should I tune into this particular conversation at this point in time? And oh, by the way, Myron, I'm also a business owner, okay? So I work full time and I have a business I'm running full time as well. What's your message to them?
Well, I would say congratulations, first of all. Congratulations on the fact that you have a family. I have one too. Congratulations on the fact that you finally get to work from home. I believe home is the best environment to work from. You don't have to fight traffic. You don't have to be around people that don't like you. You don't have to be around people you're not crazy about. You can spend most of your time with the people you care the most about. So congratulations on working from home. Congratulations on being an entrepreneur. Congratulations on having a family. And the other thing I want to say is this. You get to choose what to focus on. You can't choose what happens, but you get to choose what you focus on while it's happening. You can't choose what other people are doing, but you can choose what you're going to do. And so, why don't you set your focus on the outcomes you desire instead of setting your focus on what somebody else is telling you to set your focos on? Because most of the time, what the system wants you to focus on is only a distraction anyway.
That's spot on, man. And I know we're going to get into that conversation and making a covenant with yourself. When you say the word covenant, we got to get going in a while. I see Kenya's out there, Dwayne's out there. Keisha Bass says, "What's up, Coach Myron?" I mean, so many folks are tuning in right now while you're speaking. You're going to be talking about making a covenant with yourself. Can you give us, before we get going, because we got to get going in a minute, man, by the way. Hey, what's up, Brian Anderson? Talk about the word covenant so everyone can be on the same page that are
Sure.
listening right now as they tune in. What's up, Stephanie?
So most people make the mistake of thinking that a covenant and a contract are the same thing, but a covenant and a contract are actually opposites of each other. So Shay, a contract is an agreement between two or more individuals based upon a mutual distrust. So if you and I enter a contract together, the reason we're entering the contract is because we're saying, look, if you don't give me what you told me you're going to give me, I can take you to court and they will make you give it to me. You're saying that to me, I'm saying that to you, but a covenant is very different. A covenant is an agreement between two or more individuals based upon a mutual love and a mutual trust. And when two people enter into covenant together, two or more people enter into covenant together, they exchange covenant vows. And those covenant vows are, I'm going to give everything I have. I'll give my time. I'll give my energy. I'll give my know-how. I'll give my wisdom. I'll give my money. I'll give my very life if necessary to protect you and yours. In other words, I am here for you more than I am here for me. That's what a covenant says. Now, the word covenant means to cut. It means to cut. And so you would basically, when you entered into a covenant with individuals, both people would bring an animal. They would kill their animal that was their family animal. They would kill it, they would cut it in pieces, and then they would walk in a circle around those animals, and then they'd come back face to face, and then they would exchange those covenant vows. I'm going to give everything I have, my time, my wealth, my energy, even my very life if necessary to protect you and yours. And then they would point at the animal and say, if I don't keep my word to you, may what happened to that animal happen to me. Well, guess what? The word covenant means to cut, but the word decision also means to cut. It comes from the Latin prefix de, which means of or from, and scission, which means to cut. So the word decision means to cut yourself off from any other possibility. Now, the big problem that most people have is they don't trust themselves. And the reason they don't trust themselves is because they've broken their word to themselves so many times in the past that they can't believe a word they say. And if the word confidence is the root word is confide, which means to trust. So if you don't have confidence, it's because you don't trust yourself. If you don't trust yourself, it's because you've lied to yourself. And the reason you lied to yourself is because you made a choice and not a decision. In other words, a choice means to pick one, but to decide means cut yourself off from every other possibility. This is what I'm going to do. This is what my life is going to be about, and nothing is going to stand in my way from heading off in this direction to achieve this thing. That's what making a covenant with yourself means. It means making a real decision where you'd rather die in honor, die pursuing, than you would to live resting. You'd rather die in pursuit of a goal. You'd rather die in pursuit of your desire than rest on your laurels and not have it. That's the difference between making a decision and making a choice. And when you make a real decision, that real decision is a covenant with yourself.
So for the business owners out there right now, relate that to, how does that relate to them setting their goals or setting their outcomes, even during these uncertain and challenging times that we're in right now? So you talked about making a choice. You talked about making a decision. So for the person sitting back there now, Myron, and here's the question that says, okay, I've got to start putting together my plan. Is it I'm making a choice when I'm putting together my plan? Talk about that for a moment.
So people make the mistake of thinking, Shay, that all factors are created equally, but they're not. There are two types of factors in the world. There are contributing factors and there are determining factors. And the media would have you believe that contributing factors are determining factors. The government would have you believe that contributing factors are determining factors. The miseducational, misdirectional system, aka the school systems, child prisons, government indoctrination camps, whatever you want to call them, they would have you believe that all factors are determining factors, but that's not true. A contributing factor is something that contributes to the current situation, the current circumstance. That's a contributing factor. In other words, this is a result of something that happened outside of me. And that's how you can tell the difference between a contributing factor and a determining factor. Contributing factor is what goes on outside of you. Determining factor is what goes on inside of you. For instance, I'm going to name a bunch of them just so people are not even remotely confused about what I'm talking about. So a contributing factor is somebody is a racist. Okay, whoever that person might be, you say that person's a racist. That's a contributing factor. Is not somebody else being a racist, doesn't matter who they are. Somebody else being a racist does not negatively affect my life at all, because that is a contributing factor in my life. It is not a determining factor of my life. The determining factor of my life is not what they think about me. The determining factor of my life is what I think about me. A contributing factor is the fact that I had polio as an infant. You know, I walk with a brace on my leg, and that's a contributing factor. Having had polio contributed to my experience of life. But some people would say, "Oh, but you've got a disability." I don't believe people have disabilities. I believe people have different abilities. And so, because that's a contributing factor, the determining factor is, okay, what does this mean to me? The determining factor is, what am I going to focus on? The determining factor is, what am I going to do about it? How can I tell the difference between a contributing factor and a determining factor? All contributing factors are outside of me. All determining factors are inside of me. Character, that's a determining factor. That's inside of me. Honesty, that's inside of me. Integrity, that is inside of me. Determining factors are the economy. Not determining factors. Contributing factors are the economy. Contributing factors are the stock market. Contributing factors are are the coronavirus. Those are all contributing factors. Quarantines, businesses shutting down. I lost my job. The doctor gave me bad news. All of that is contributing factors. Determining factors are all inside of me. Contributing factors are all outside of me. For instance, we know that the stock market can only move in three directions. It can go up, it can go down, it can go sideways. Shay, if I ask the average person out there listening to us right now, do you make money when the stock market goes up? Do you make it when it goes down? Or do you make it when it goes sideways? What would the average person say?
When it goes up.
They would say you make money when it goes up.
Yeah.
But I would say the answer, think about the direction of the stock market is a contributing factor. So the reality is, whether or not you make money in the stock market has nothing to do with the direction it's going. It has everything to do with where you position yourself when it's doing what it's doing. Now, when I saw the stock market going down, I just got back from Israel. My wife and I, we went to Israel. So for 14, we were in Israel for 14 days or 13 days, something like that. Anyway, we were in Israel because we go to Israel every year. It's one of our favorite vacations. It is our favorite vacation. And we've gone on a couple of cruises. And so when the market started tanking because of this coronavirus, I said, oh man, I need to get back so I can put some money in my brokerage account so I can do some trading, because I want to take advantage of this. I want to position myself. So since the stock market is going down, I want to position myself so that I can capitalize on this. So I got back home. And I have not traded stocks or options in a very long time, just because I'm busy building my business, right? But I knew this was a golden opportunity, literally a golden opportunity. And so I put $50,000 in my account like 2 weeks ago. Not last Friday, but the Friday before last, the stock market went up 1,900 points in one day. Well, when it went up 1,900 points, it was up 1,000 points 30 minutes before the stock market closed. And when it was up 1,000 points, I bought puts, which means I position myself so that when it goes back down, I'm going to make money. Well, that was not last Friday, not this past Friday, but the Friday before that, I got in my first trade. I've done 2 trades since 2 Fridays ago, Friday before last, in the last 6 market days. And I've done 2 trades. Both of them were puts when the market went up. And in the last 6 days, while the stock market is tanking, everybody's freaking out, I made $25,200 on my $50,000. I made more than 50% return in 6 days on that $50,000 investment. And that money is sitting in there waiting for me to do whatever I want to with it. So the answer is not, you don't make money in the stock market because the stock market went up. You don't make money you don't lose money in the stock market because the stock market went down. You make or lose money in the stock market just like you make or lose money in life. It's determined by where did you position yourself when that thing happened. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense. And it leads us back to the part for those folks that are out there like Monty and Teresa Rael, who's out there right now that's joining. Thanks so much. Robin's out there, Kevin Goins, Sakisha, my woman Sakisha out there. She's out in Florida. She's near you. You're in Tampa. She's in Orlando, by the way. I guess that's not near you.
What's up, Florida sister?
Her and her husband is fantastic, by the way. Take a moment. For those folks that are out there watching, do us a favor. Myron Goins is going to break down in just a moment mindset. And everyone throws around the word mindset. So I want to get his view on the world on, one, what is mindset? And then how do you control your mindset and position in the right direction, which is going to help you in your life and your business. One of our beliefs is the results that show up in your life are just as important as the results that show up in your bank account. Fortunately, we got Myron Golden, so he can help you with results in your life and, more importantly, ching-ching in your bank account. But here's what I want you to do. Hit the share button. You have my permission. You have Myron's permission right now. When you hit the share button or you hit the watch party button, write these words. It's your time. Hashtag let's go. Just put it's your time. Hashtag let's go. And it's your time to go right now. This is not a time to slow down. It's a time to speed up, which Myron was telling me. I'm going to get to that, by the way. He said, no, don't slow down, Shay. Speed up. Myron, take a moment for those folks that are hitting the share button. We appreciate you. Do it now. If you haven't done it, do it when? Now. Please. We want to pay this message forward to someone else. We want to bless another entrepreneur. We want to bless another mom, another dad, single mom, single dad. We want to make a difference in the world. And Myron Golden is not asking for any cash out payments. He's not asking for any wire transfers today. He's not saying, Shay, you got to send a check. He came to serve and he came to give. So let's give to someone else because we believe in the giver's economy. The person out gives the competition out earns the competition.
Yes,
Myron
sir.
Golden, talk about mindset, because that word, we put it out when we shared it with everyone, and we need to get your perception on what does it mean and how do we position ourselves.
Okay, so when you think about your mind, right? You think about your mind, it's basically the way you perceive, it's what you use to think with. And then you think about the word set, it's a position, right? And so I believe that you've got to focus on three things when it comes to mindset. You got to make sure you have the right mindset, and then you got to make sure you have the right skill set, and then you have to make sure you have the right tool set. So let's talk about the mindset aspect of that first. The first thing I'm going to say is this. Unfortunately, even though you've got this brilliant mind, all of you have a brilliant mind, whether you know it or not. Unfortunately, more than likely, no one has ever taught you how to use it. So you've got it reminds me, Shay, of this sitcom that used to come on in the 80s called The Greatest American Hero. Now, you probably remember that show,
Yeah.
right? Greatest American Hero. And these aliens came from outer space, and they left this superhero suit, and this guy found it, but he lost the instructions, and so he had all these superpowers, but he didn't know how to access them. So he would fly, but he could fly, but he couldn't figure out how to land, right? And the theme song of the show was "Believe It or Not, I'm Walking on Air. I never thought I could be so free. Believe it or not, on a wing and a prayer. Believe it or not, it's just me." Well, guess what? Most people are like the greatest American hero. They have access to this superpower in their head called their mind, and they have no earthly idea how to use it. So I'm going to tell you three things that you should desire to use your mind for. Number one, you should learn to use your mind to learn. Now, unfortunately, most people learned about learning from what I call the miseducational, misdirectional system, aka government indoctrination camps, also known as the school system, right? So why do I call it that? Because the school system doesn't teach you how to think, it tells you what to think. And I believe it's infinitely more important to know how to think than it is to know the answers that somebody else told you are right. Because here's what I found out. As a child, many of the answers that I was told were the right answers when I was a child, I found out as an adult that not only were they not the right answers, they were some of the worst answers you could possibly have. Study hard, get good grades so you can go to school and graduate from a good college and get a good job. Well, where exactly do you find that good job? I think people are waking up in the last couple of weeks, Shay, to realize that the only security that you will ever have in your life is the freedom you create for yourself. Benjamin Franklin said, "If we seek security, we have no independence." Helen Keller said, "Security does not exist in all of nature, neither do the sons of men as a whole experience it. Life is either a daring adventure or a nothing at all." Are you willing? Are you going to have enough courage to make your life a daring adventure? Or are you going to settle for your life being nothing at all? I want to challenge you. I want to challenge each and every one of you right now to take your life to the next level and not suffer through seeking security. I think millions of people around the world who have safe, secure jobs are finding out right now that safe, secure job doesn't feel so safe, and it certainly doesn't feel secure. So what you've got to do, you got to have the mindset, number one, you got to learn how to learn. Now, before you can learn how to learn, you have to learn what the purpose of learning is. The purpose of learning, the miseducational system will tell you the purpose of learning is knowing. And so one of the things that I've discovered in coaching people, Shay, you probably found the same thing, and that is that thinking, the biggest hindrance to learning is thinking that you already know.
Yes.
Like the hardest clients that I've had to coach in my whole coaching career have been the ones with the biggest education. The more education they got, the harder it is to coach them. Why? Because they're so busy trying to be right that they can't get rich. They're so busy knowing that they can't learn.
I like that.
And so the purpose of learning is not knowing. I'm going to tell you what the purpose of learning is. The purpose of learning is mastery. Write that one down. The purpose of learning is mastery. What is mastery? I'm not just going to use a word. I'm going to define that word for you. Mastery is the ability to execute effortlessly without the use of conscious resources. Let me say that again. Mastery is the ability to execute effortlessly without the use of conscious resources. So what you've got to do is you've got to figure out how can I master this skill? See, that's where mindset brings you skill sets. So what happens is you got to learn one business skill. Shay, when I got started in business, I was terrible at everything to do with business. I was terrible at sales. I was terrible at leadership. I was terrible at recruiting. I was terrible at business. I was terrible at managing money. I was awful at all of it.
So how'd you stay in business?
That's a great question. Why did I stay in business? The reason I stayed in business is because I saw people in business doing things that I didn't see people who had jobs doing. I saw people in business making $10,000 a month, $50,000 a month, $100,000 a month back in the 80s and 90s. And I thought, well, if they can do it, I can do it. I'll eventually figure it out if I will be willing to last through the learning curve. See, most people are so addicted to a paycheck that they will not learn to work to build something for a long time unless it starts paying them right away. See, when I got started in business, Shay, I was so terrible at selling that it took me a year and a half to make my first paycheck. And I had people who would ask me, hey, Myron, how's that thing you're doing going? It's going great. How much money are you making? I don't know. I'm not done counting it up yet. I mean, the reality was I hadn't started making any yet. I was in sales for a year and a half before I made my first sale. So people, well, why did you stay in it? I stayed in it because there was no place else I was going to go and set my family free. And to me, it was like that movie Harriet, the quote she said on the bridge right before she jumped in the water, said, I'm going to live free or die. So for me, it wasn't a choice to make my family free. It was a decision. This is what we are going to do. And so I mastered, what I did was I learned one skill at a time. I learned how to prospect, and I got good at it. And I mastered that skill. And then I learned how to present, and I got good at that. And I mastered that skill. And then I learned how to overcome objections, and I got good at it. And I mastered that skill. And then I learned how to make offers, and I mastered that skill. And now what happens is I've got all of these skills that I've mastered, and I've done this concept that I call mastery stacking. What is mastery stacking? It's the exact opposite of how people live their lives. Mastery stacking is the exact opposite of lack of mastery stacking. And so what most people do is they'll collect a bunch of knowledge, they'll collect a bunch of information, and they think that knowing about something is the same as knowing it. And so they'll learn a little bit about sales, and they'll learn a little bit about business building, and they'll learn a little bit about recruiting, they'll learn a little bit about lead generation, and they'll know a little bit about all these things, and then they'll try to piece it all together and try to remember, but they don't have any of it mastered, and then they feel overwhelmed, and they go watch Netflix. Overwhelm is the direct result of lack of mastery. Do you know what? So one of the things I learned when I was in college, I learned how to juggle. Learning how to juggle is the perfect example of mastery stacking. Do you know how they teach you how to juggle?
No, how? Tell us.
They give you one object. It could be a baseball, it could be an orange, it could be an apple. They give you one object, and you throw it up and down. They give you one object. I'm going to do it right now. You can't really see it, but I've got this. And you throw it up and down, and then you throw it up and down with the other hand, and then you throw it up and down, and then you throw it up and down. They give you one. And you have to do this until you can throw it up and count it. Throw it up in one hand and catch it with the other hand. And you do that until you can do it, like for a whole minute without stopping. And then you grab something else that you're going to juggle. You throw that one up. And when that one's on its way down, you throw the other one up and you catch that. So you learn how to juggle by adding one thing at a time. And then what happens is you throw that one up, you catch that one, and you keep on doing it until you can do two for a minute. And then once you can do two of them for a minute consistently without dropping them, then you can add a third one. And the next thing you know, you're juggling. And that is the perfect example of how you build a business. You master one component at a time, and then you stack it. So that's the first purpose. The first purpose of your mind is mastery stacking, or mastery, and then mastery stacking. The second thing you got to...
So the first purpose is mastery stacking. For everyone out there right now, do me a favor. As you're watching right now, he's going to go into the second one. Myron Golden is landing. I know he's going to do all this, by the way, but he just has a heart to give. He has a heart to serve. He's giving you the best he has. Do me a favor. If Myron is doing a great job right now, look right below the video. Let's give him a digital applause. Normally we wait to the end, but Myron, he's just different, right? So normally wait to the end. He's throwing down. Look right below the video and give him a digital applause. Here's how you do that. Right? Thank you, Myron. Or we appreciate you, Myron. Or put great job, Myron. Or put one of the big takeaways that you already have. Do that now. Do that now. And if you want to give them a special applause, and for us as well, a double special applause. So some of you are writing. Jennifer Harris is out there right now. Tangi Barquette is out there. Rose Walker is out there. Brenda Powell is out there right now. Lori Johnson is out there right now. Eric Heilich is out there. Go ahead and put great job. But after you do that, here's the ultimate applause. Pay it forward. Like, hit the share button right now. And when you hit that share button right now, just put it's your time. Don't say it's my time. We know it's your time. You're going to bless someone else. You're going to put this into their subconscious mind. Put it's your time. Hashtag let's go with Myron Golden. Just put it's your time. Hashtag let's go with Myron Golden. Because Myron Golden gave you number one. But I'm going to tell you right now, he's just getting going. Joseph McNeil said, great job. Keisha Bass says, you're doing wonderful. Debbie Green said, I see you out there. Landra says, what's up, Unc? They're out there watching right now. Okay, Myron, I cut you off. I slowed you down. Kevin Goins is out there in Texas right now as well. This is not just about Myron talking. It's about he will change your life if you let him. And he's teaching you something very powerful around mindset, not just, believe and go watch YouTube and get excited and get motivated, get intellectually stimulating. He's telling you something you can do to master what you're doing right now. Absolutely. And that'll make the difference for you. That's a decision, he talked about it earlier, that you can do right now that you directly control. That's an internal factor. All right, Myron, take it away. Peggy Morris is out there watching. She says, what's up? Shelly's out there as well. Sanaa says, we appreciate you, Mr. Myron. Take it away, my man.
So fantastic. So the second thing first thing we want to use our mind for is mastery and mastery stacking. The second thing we want to use our mindset for is to empower our expectations. I'm going to tell you something. This is so hard for most people. I am blown away by the quicksand and quagmire of negativity most people live in 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I do not subscribe. I just don't play it. I am not going to play in your mud puddle. Like, if you want to play in a mud puddle, play in a mud puddle by yourself. I'm not going to come join you. Like, there's no woe is me. There's no, I'm worried about getting a virus. There's no, I'm not worried about doing anything. While everybody else is panicking, by the way, panic is an emotion, right? And it's an emotion that's caused by extreme anxiety. And anxiety is not the same as fear. Most people out there who think they're afraid right now, they're not even afraid. They just have anxiety. I don't even have time to cover that right now. Maybe Shay'll bring me back to that later. But the reality is what you've got to do is you got to empower your expectations. Most people only disempower their expectations. So one of the things that I've been doing for years, I've developed some pretty strong mental muscles, Shay, and I've learned how to only, and by the way, if you're taking notes, write only in all caps. I've learned how to only expect outcomes I desire. I give no energy, no attention, no focus, no consideration whatsoever to an outcome that is undesirable to me. In fact, the only thing I believe is impossible for me is the idea that something is impossible for me. I hope I didn't say that too fast. The only thing I believe is impossible for me is the idea that something is going to be impossible for me. If I desire to do something, all I have to do is look in the rearview mirror of my life and see how many things I've already learned, and just taking inventory of the things I've already learned how to do. Because when I landed on this planet, I couldn't walk, I couldn't talk, I couldn't drink a bottle of water, I couldn't drive a car, I couldn't use a computer, I couldn't use a smartphone, and now I can do all these things, which tells me if I take inventory of the things I've already learned how to do, that ought to be enough to let me know there's nothing I can't learn how to do. So I empower my expectations. I only allow myself to expect outcomes I desire. So when I'm working on something, the reason I'm working on it is because I expect it to work. And I expect it to work in two ways. Heads, let me see, do I have a coin? I don't have a coin in here. So work is a two-sided coin. And I want you to understand this now. So there's no such thing as work that doesn't work. People will say to you, Shay, they'll say to me, I tried it, it didn't work. It did work. There's no such thing as work that doesn't work. The scripture says, in all labor there is profit. So there's no such thing as work that doesn't work. Now, maybe the work didn't produce the outcome you thought it was going to produce. Maybe it didn't produce the outcome you desired it to produce, but it still worked. So work is a two-sided coin. Oh, I do have a coin right here. So work is a two-sided coin. I've got my gratitude coin right here. So gratitude coin has heads, gratitude coin has tails. And so if I flip this coin, it can land on heads or tails. Well, guess what? It landed on tails. So I'm going to tell you what, when I'm looking at a coin, it doesn't matter if it's a gratitude coin or a quarter or a nickel or a dime, it doesn't matter. When I'm looking at a coin that has two sides, well, when I flip that coin, what's going to happen is it's either going to land on heads or tails. Well, in the coin of work, heads is the work I'm doing on it. That's the stuff I get paid for. That's the stuff that, puts cheddar cheese in the refrigerator, puts money in the bank account, right? Mm-hmm. So that work that I'm working on, the work that I'm doing on it, when that part works, it produces the result I was seeking. But guess what? When it doesn't produce the result I'm seeking, it's still working, but now it's working on me. When it lands on tails, the work that I did is working on me. And it's working on me through a concept called the feedback loop. So when I'm working on something and it doesn't do what I expected it to do, and it doesn't do what I desired it to do, and it doesn't do what I thought it was going to do, it still did something. It gave me some feedback. Feedback is the breakfast of champions. And so when I take that feedback and now I adjust my approach, I can go back and I can flip that coin again. And this time it landed on tails again. Oh no, but it's still working. It's still working on me. Now it's giving me more feedback. And eventually it's going to land on heads. And the thing that I've been working on worked on me so much that now there's no way that it can't produce the result I was seeking. I'm going to tell you something. When you learn to empower your expectations and only allow yourself to expect outcomes you desire, it will change your life for the rest of your life. In fact, there's no advice, in my opinion, there's no advice any human being on earth can give you that's better than the advice I just gave you. Expectation is your superpower. But understand that expectation, or belief, if you want to call it that, can manifest itself in two different ways. Why? Because belief is also a two-sided coin. Belief is a two-sided coin. Heads is called faith. Tails is called doubt. So expectation or belief can be either faith or doubt, because doubt and faith are both belief. Faith is belief in the outcome I desire. Doubt is belief in the outcome I don't desire. Now here's what's tragic. What's tragic is if you don't learn to empower your expectations, and if you don't learn to only expect outcomes you desire, what's going to happen is you've been programmed your whole life by the media, the government, the miseducational system, by your friends and your family, and even your parents who loved you. You've been programmed to only expect outcomes you don't desire. And so if your desire is in conflict with your expectation will always win. Why? Because expectation is your greatest superpower. And if you don't learn to discipline that superpower and empower it, then you've already been programmed to use your greatest superpower against yourself. And that's what, by the way, when you learn to live like this, when you start living like this, here's what people are going to tell you. They're going to tell you have a very large distortion reality field. And I'm going to say more power to you, but at least the stuff that I'm delusional about, it's working. So I think, like, most people don't realize your expectation is what causes every action you take or inhibits every action you desire to take. So that's the second thing, empower your expectations. And then the last one, I'm just going to talk about it quickly because I've been ranting here for a little while.
No, look, first of all, you're spot on, man. You're right on. This is the message that I want you to deliver. For those folks that are out there, he's giving you mindset. That was number one. Then he gave you number two. What was number two again?
The first one was mastery stacking.
Mastery stacking. I'm sorry.
Second one is empowering your expectations.
Okay, so mastery stacking was number one. Number two was empowering your expectations. So do me a favor. Someone look right below the video that's out there. Barrett Matthews is out there right now. Jennifer Harris is out there right now. So many folks out there. Look right below the video and put number one, mastery stacking. Then put number two. What was number two again, Myron?
Empowering your expectations.
Empowering your expectations. Now, if you just walked away with just one of those, it would blow your mind. You've got two, and he has another gear left in him. Just when you think there's nothing left, I always feel that about Myron. There's always something left in the tank. Like he always does this. This is helping you right now. And do me a favor, by the way. Do me a favor. If you haven't hit the share button, we want to bless right now 1 million entrepreneurs. Yes. Happy entrepreneurs. We want to bless 1 million folks that are out there right now that are saying, you know what? I need to be focused on mastery right now. I need to be focused on building my skill set right now. And I need to be focused on taking it to an entirely different level. And that's what Myron is the best at helping you grow your business. Now, we do believe the results that show up in your life are just as important as what? The results that show up in your bank account.
Absolutely.
And so bank account's important, but he's helping you first get focused on your life. Don't worry, I'm gonna ask him a question about making money on the other side. Don't worry about that. But I want to make sure that you are right first. I think there's a saying that says you have to be a leader of one before you're a leader of many. So for every one of you out there who hit the share button, we appreciate it. For those that wrote the word, it's your time when you hit the share button. Hashtag let's go with Myron Golden. I thank you. I know Myron Golden appreciates it. And that's what this message is all about. It's not about me or Myron. It's about how we can empower, how we can inspire, how we give everyone the resources they need to execute the vision they have for the people they were called to serve. And that's why Myron is here. You know, one of the sayings, and we didn't kick off because Myron was already going. I wasn't going to stop Myron at all. But one of the things that we say, the whole mission of the Happy Entrepreneur Show is to empower and is to inspire, but more importantly, is to provide you with the resources that are necessary to execute 3 visions that I believe that you have for yourself. First, you have a vision for how you want to live, the food that you want to eat, the clothes you want to wear. You know what it takes? It takes revenue to buy those resources, and that's important. Some of you have a second vision as well. You have a vision for your loved ones. I have Mother Dear. I love picking Mother Dear up, taking her to physical therapy. I love stopping by the store. God's blessed me where I can swipe the credit card. I can write a check. She can order whatever the heck she wants. God's blessed me. Some of you have a vision for your loved ones right now. You got to pay for healthcare insurance. Some of you have to pay to send them to school. Some of you have to pay for the mortgage. Some of you want to write a check to your community so you can bless someone else. It takes resources, which means it takes what, Myron? Revenue. And then the last vision that I believe you have, and that's why this show exists, to give you the resources so you can really execute this vision. You have a vision for the people you were called to serve right now. And imagine, no matter if you're a believer or not, I'm a believer, but imagine Noah in the Bible, whether you believe in it or not. And imagine Noah given this vision from God. And there's no hammer. Well, there's no resources. Oh, there's no nail. Oh, there's no resources. There's no wood and there's no team. There's no resources. So there would Noah be sitting there by himself saying, I don't have the resources. And that might be you right now. You're like, God, I got the vision, I got the heart, but I don't have the revenue to support my vision so I can help as many people as possible. And that's why Myron is here today, right now, to give you the resources so you can execute that vision you have for the people you were called to serve. We finished. I'm going to ask him to help all the business owners out there right now, but I wanted to set the tone and the mindset. All right, Myron, went on a rant there, but I wanted to make sure that folks understand that this is what you do typically behind the scenes with your clients. And so he's sharing that today to bless all of us. So thank you. Everyone look below the video. If you said it before, say thank you, Myron. Say we appreciate you, Myron. Say go, Myron, go. Now don't give him too much go because he got some power now. He got some juice. Go, Myron, go. All right, Myron, back to you. Mastery, stacking was number 1. Number 2, empowering your expectations. What's number 3?
Number 3, when it comes to mindset, is setting yourself up, reprogramming your mind for automatic success instead of automatic failure. Now, when I discovered this, Shay, it like changed my life forever. I'm gonna give you a quote. I'm gonna say it a couple of times, give you enough time to write it down. Successful people are not trying to succeed any more than failures are trying to fail. I'm going to say it again. Successful people are not trying to succeed any more than failures are trying to fail. That's the first. And then put comma. Don't put a period there. Put a comma. Then put this. Success and failure are both automatic. I hope that hit you hard. Success and failure are both automatic. Now, what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is people who are succeeding don't succeed by trying. And I learned this when I'm talking about probably 20 years ago, Shay. I'm talking to one of my clients on the phone. How's business going? They said, well, I'm really trying. And as soon as they said that, I thought, well, that's really interesting because I'm not really trying. Like people say, Myron, I know how busy you are. I know how hard you work. No, you think you know how busy I am, and you think you know how hard I work. Because I'm really not that busy. I'm busy enough, but I do get to play golf almost every day, right? It's March 23rd, I think. Is it March 23rd? Is that what it is? This is the third month of the year. My wife and I have already gone on 3 vacations so far this year. So I am not struggling. You know, I wore my shirt 2 days ago that says the struggle is not real, it's imagined, right? Because the struggle is not, people say the struggle is real. No, what's real is your ability to imagine the struggle. That's what's real. And so what you have to do is you have to reprogram your subconscious mind for automatic success instead of automatic failure. Because all success and failure are the result of what happens in your life subconsciously. Now, what does that mean? Okay, I want everybody to take your hands like this. Take your hands like this. Put them together. Okay, now I want you to look at your hands. And I want you to take note as to whether your right thumb and forefinger are on top of your left thumb and forefinger, or are your left thumb and forefinger on top of your right thumb and forefinger. Okay? So, take note. Okay, you got it? Now, I want you to take them apart and put them back together the opposite way. Ugh. Why would anybody? And when you're like, I can see your face, and I can't even see you, but I can see you're going like, that's yucky. Well, why does this feel so awkward, so weird, so uncomfortable? Because since you've been clasping your hands together for the most part, if your left thumb and forefingers are on top, you've been doing it that way since you've been doing it. If your right thumb and forefingers are on top, you've been doing it that way since you've been doing it. And you don't do it like this sometimes and like that sometimes. No. It's not how it works. You do it the same way pretty much every time. My left thumb and forefingers are always on top when I clasp my hands. Well, that's because you do that automatically. And as automatically as you do this, that's how automatically you produce the results in your life. Automatically, you focus on the obstacle or the opportunity. Automatically, you focus on what's happening to you or what you're going to do about it. Automatically, you focus on what's missing or what's abundant. And what you've got to do is you got to reprogram your subconscious mind for automatic success instead of automatic failure. When I'm sitting here in my office, Shay, and I'm looking at my bookshelves, I got all these books up here and these manuals, these programs, and I've invested more money than I can even count into my own personal development so that I could grow to become the person who could do the thing so that I could have the stuff, right? Most people are just focused on trying to have the stuff, but you can't shortcut the system. You have to become the person who can do the thing that will allow you to have the stuff. And when I think about that, all of this stuff for me has been reprogramming because I grew up poor. I grew up in a lot of negativity, and I grew up in the same world with the same cultural, hypnotic, societal mechanism attempting to program me that programs everybody else. But now, it would be, I don't want it to sound like I'm bragging, because I'm not. I'm just a regular guy who's figured some stuff out. But I'm going to tell you something. Like, it would be as hard for me not to make 6 or 7 figures a month than it is for other people to make 6 or 7 figures a month. It would be that hard for me not to figure out how to not make it, because that's the automatic success I've set myself up for. And so, like, most people don't set themselves up for any automatic success because they didn't even know they could do it. Because they're walking around, you're still walking around believing that the stuff that's going on out there outside of you, that the contributing factors are determining factors. And so you're not taking any action, because if you believe contributing factors are determining factors, if you believe that the power belongs to the things and the people outside of you, then you're going to have to wait for the things or the people outside of you to change for your circumstances to change. But when you begin to focus on the determining factors that you have inside of you, your diligence, your determination, your honesty, your integrity, your work ethic, when you begin to focus on those things, that's what's going to give you the ability to change everything going on outside of you.
Woo! Powerful. Very, very powerful. Those folks that are watching right now, you listen to the one and only Myron Golden right now. What's going on, Craig Talley? What's going on, Dan Thomas? Thanks for joining. Patricia, Dwayne Reynolds says, wow. Go ahead and write down. What's up, Rod Warren? Go ahead and write down your number one takeaway. Like, look right below the video. Look right below the video and put down, my biggest takeaway is blank. Just put down, my biggest takeaway is blank. And go ahead and write that down right now. And as you're doing that, I'm going to ask Myron when we come back in just a second to focus on focus factor. how your focus determines your results. He was just talking about that. And I'm going to ask him to look at it from an entrepreneur perspective,
Sure.
and then talk about the power of being an entrepreneur. Now, he works with clients, which we're going to get into when we come back, every single day. And he helps clients really sell from the stage. He helps clients build their business and earn revenue in all areas. We're going to get into that. But I want him to come back to talk about, he started on it just now, focus factor. How your focus determines your results, and how do you, number one, Myron, stay focused? And number two, what do you do when you get off track? Because life is a series of being on track and off track, Myron. On track and off track. For those folks that are out there listening right now, like, whoa, Shay, this is really good stuff. You want to get a copy of the video, you want the notes. There's no cost for this, by the way. One of the things we're doing, Myron, I don't know if I mentioned that to you, is we're sharing with everyone the Happy Entrepreneur Manifesto. And we're on a mission to share the Happy Entrepreneur Manifesto with 10 million folks that are out there. And this manifesto really has some of our core beliefs on it. And one of our core beliefs is the results that show up in your life are just as important as the results that show up in your bank account. And this is our gift to every single one of you. You can download it. There's no money. There's nothing that's needed. I'm going to give you the instructions, but I also want you to pay it forward. I want you not only to get the manifesto, read the 12 values that we truly have, and they can help you as well. Then I want you to pay it forward. Now, for those folks that do get the manifesto, I'm gonna give you the number to text in. We'll send it directly to you. You can go download it. You'll also have an opportunity to get the recording of this. So we'll send you a link. You want to go listen to this a second, a third, a fourth time. And don't worry, I'm gonna ask Myron how you can connect with him. Don't worry, I'm gonna ask Myron how he works with businesses. And I'm gonna ask him, more importantly, Janice, the type of businesses that he works with. Because he can't work with everybody, but he works with somebody out there. So here's how you get the manifesto. You can get. I love the manifesto. My favorite saying on here, of course, they're all my favorite saying. I wouldn't have it, but I believe that people are the most valuable resource for a business. And I also believe what Myron says. I believe that you can have it all, and you don't have to sacrifice love for success. That you can do it all. I love what Myron said, going on vacation. I love what Myron said, taking time with the family. I love what Myron is doing right now. So how do you get there? Let me just give you the instructions, and then we're going to get back over to Myron Gold. But once you get the Happy Manifesto, I think we have that up there. Hopefully they're going to pull that up for me in just a second. And we're going to give you the instructions. Now, here are the instructions. Now, not only we get the manifesto link, okay, you got to text the word manifesto to this number. You're going to get the manifesto so you can download it. But I'm also going to make sure that everyone gets a copy, and they want to hear this audio or this replay a second or third time. And if you're on a podcast, you already got it. Okay. If you're on Amazon TV, you got it. You're on iTunes TV, you got it as well. But here's what I want you to do. Everyone do this right now, and then there'll be a bonus. Do this right now. Get your cell phone out. Text the word manifesto to 202-999-3515. Once again, text the word manifesto right now to 202-999. Just open up a browser right now. Open up your text message thing right now. Text the word manifesto, manifesto, to 202-999-3515. Once you do that, just follow the instructions. You'll get the link so you can download the manifesto. I promise you, it's changed so many lives. We had a call from someone just yesterday, and they've now remembered the creed that the results that show up in their life are just as important as the results that show up in their bank account. And they got off track. And so as a result, they were focused on the money instead of focused on taking care of themselves. And that's why I like what Myron talked about. Make sure you get it right first before you go out there and save someone else. Now, he's going to teach you how to save your business now. When you get back to focus, he's going to teach you how to save your business and how to grow your business. But for you out there right now, if you want to take this forward, someone do me a favor, look right below the video and just text the word manifesto to 202-999-3515 to get the manifesto and the replay. And then my team will also put together the notes just from today. Some of you just want the notes because you're like, Myron's been going so fast. You've been listening to him. You're like, man, how do I keep up with that? Well, Myron, we wanted a way for them to do that. And Myron, take 1 minute if you can, or 2 minutes, and talk about the power of having affirmations. Talk about the power of affirmations.
Sure. If you understand that the principle behind affirmations is this, that death and life are in the power of the tongue. By the way, the wisest, wealthiest man who ever lived said this: death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. It also says that a man shall eat good by the fruit of his mouth. So what we got to do is we got to make sure that we're very intentional with our words. Like, I am very intentional with my words. And by the way, when I say intentional, that means there are some words I never say. And there are some words I say all the time. Now, some people say, it's just words. There's no such thing as just words. Why? Because in the Hebrew culture, and I believe Hebrew is the language that God used to speak everything into existence. In the Hebrew culture, the word for to speak and the word for thing are the same word. It's the word devar or debar, right? Daled beit resh. And so everything is the word that we call that thing. And if we do not have a word for a thing, then we do not have that thing. What am I saying? I'm going to give you this from a biblical perspective. I'm going to give it to you from a practical perspective. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by him, and without him was not any thing made that was made. What is that telling us? That's telling us that everything that is was made from the Word. If you look at the periodic table of elements, like, that H2O is water, right? AUX is gold. When you look at the periodic table, or AU is gold. When you look at the periodic table of elements, and you see these, you will see that there are 92 non-alloy individual elements. So that's pretty much the chemical composition of every single thing that exists on the earth, right? 92 individual non-alloy elements, right? Chemical elements. Well, guess what? In Genesis chapter 1, there are exactly 92 Hebrew words that were used when God created everything out of nothing. You say, what am I saying? I'm saying words are some of the most important things that you will ever do. And here's what I'm going to say. You've got to be intentional. Affirmations means you only let positivity, you only let encouragement, you only let empowerment come out of your mouth. That's why I don't use profanity ever, ever. My son is 30 years old. My daughter's 29. They've never heard me use a cuss word ever in their life. And the reason they haven't heard me is because I haven't heard me. Oh, there's a novel concept. I don't use negative language. And not only do I not cuss people out, I don't tell people off. I do my best to encourage everyone I come in contact with. Why? Because I believe that our words are a gift that we give to other people. And like Shay was talking about earlier, the giver's economy, one of the most important things you can ever give anybody, and something you can give everybody you meet, is an encouraging word.
Perfect. That is spot on, Myron Golden. As always, man, you are the rock star. What I'm going to do, because I was looking at some of the questions that are coming in, and I think it's very important when we come back to focus on one area. I wasn't going to get you to go to focus on focus, but you talked about that when you did number 3. But the question really came up was God's original design for wealth. Should Christians really be pursuing wealth? Now, this might not be for everyone watching, so I know some of you might not tune in, but Myron's going to talk about business when we come back. He's going to talk about pursuing wealth and using business to pursue wealth. And then I'm going to ask him, who does he work with? So we're about to get into money time. Now, we were talking about building yourself up right now, and he's done that. But now I'm asking him to shift his focus and spend a little bit of time talking about God's original design for wealth. Should Christians really pursue wealth, and how's the best path to do that through business? We'll be back in less than 2 minutes. Let him get his thoughts, which he don't need time for, by the way, to get his thoughts together. We're going to come back in just less than 2 minutes. We're going to go over to Dr. Kenneth Thigpen, and she talks about confidence is currency. We'll be back in less than 2 minutes. God's original design for wealth. Someone hit the share button right now and put God's original design for wealth by Myron Golden. I don't know what he's going to say myself, by the way, but I know you don't want to miss this. We'll be back in less than 2 minutes.
Hello, it's your girl, Dr. Kenneth Thigpen, also known as Dr. K, founder of Rise Women's Network. And Rise Women's Network is pleased to present to you #Next Sister Up. I'm with you in the Happy Entrepreneurs Tribe, and today is my January 1st. Here's your thought of the week. Confidence is currency. You see, confidence is one of the most important factors when it comes to one's success. Your confidence is ultimately how strongly you believe in your skills, your level to perform, and your ability to reach goal attainment. So I wanted to share with you 4 ways in order to convert your confidence into currency. First, you must do the things that you are afraid of. Now, I get it. We're afraid of the unknown. We're afraid of uncertainty. We're afraid of success and failure. We're afraid of being judged and what people are going to think about us. But the fastest way to build your confidence is to do the thing that you are afraid of first. Stop putting a wall of fear between you and your confidence. Second, you want to be able to set your bar and your goals oh so high. Set them so high that you have no clue how you're going to be able to achieve them. Because when you set very low and weak goals, you're going to get mediocre results. Number 3, you want to be able to ask questions. When you don't know, when you're stuck, take time to ask questions, because powerful people ask powerful questions because questions steer focus. And in this life, you get what you focus on. And number 4, you want to let go of perfection. Now, oftentimes people think that perfection is there to protect them from something, when in reality, it prevents them from everything. And so remember, you are braver than you believe, you are stronger than you seem, and you are smarter than you think. It's your girl, Dr. K. Make it a great day.
Well, it's a great day. My name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur, and welcome back to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the #1 business development and revenue focused late night show in the country. We're on a mission. Our mission is to empower. Our mission is to inspire. And our mission is really to provide you, the entrepreneur, with all the resources necessary to execute the vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And what good does it do for you to be out there and not have the resources, which is revenue? So I've asked Myron Golden to do us a double favor. Like, he's already in overtime, guys. This is probably double overtime for him. But I want him to answer the one question that came up and really address that, which is God's original design for wealth. And should Christians pursue wealth, and how to do that ethically through the business path? And that's what Myron helps folks do every single day. Myron, can you go ahead and address that, please?
Absolutely. So first of all, even before I address that, I want to address that, but I want to come to it from a different perspective. The whole idea that people who are followers of Christ should be broke is literally a satanic doctrine. It's a doctrine that has its roots, believe it or not, in Greek mythology. It does not have its roots in Scripture at all. It has its roots in Greek mythology. And then from Greek mythology, it got passed down through Constantine to the Catholic Church. And then from the Catholic Church to the Protestant Church, this whole idea that if you're a follower of God, you should be poor. Okay, that's not a biblical concept, and I'm going to prove it to you from Scripture. So I'm going to share with you God's original design for wealth. But the first thing you have to understand about understanding proper biblical interpretation is, if you want to understand what the Bible is talking about, you have to apply the laws of proper biblical interpretation. There are 3 laws that I like to focus on because they're 3 of the most important. One is called the law of context. What does that mean? That means I can't ignore the verses that come before it or the verses come after it and then just lift this verse out of its context and create a doctrine in isolation. There are no isolated doctrines in Scripture. Okay, so if my understanding of a passage of Scripture contradicts the verses before it or after it, or any other passage in the Bible, then I have misunderstood it. Okay, so that's where we're going to start. Number 2 is the law. So that's the law of context. Number 2 is the law of definitions. The law of definitions states that if I don't look up every word in the verse, then I can't understand what the verse is saying. I have to know the definition of every word in the passage in order for me to understand the passage. For instance, we've all heard the phrase, redeeming the time because the days are evil. Like, we all know that. I mean, people, redeeming the time because all the days are evil. But almost nobody knows what the words in that passage mean. So I happened to do word studies on that, and I found out that the word redeem means to buy back, to buy up, to rescue from loss, and to improve opportunity. So I'm supposed to buy back my time, buy up my time, rescue it from loss, and improve my opportunity. And then it says, for the days are evil. That word evil is not evil like Satan is evil. It's not evil like sin is evil. It's the word evil, difficult in nature, or hard. So the Scripture is saying, buy back your time. Walk wisely, not as fools, buying back your time, rescuing it from loss, and improving your opportunity because the days are evil. Now, that's because life is hard. That's the exact opposite of what most people do. The Scripture says we should buy back our time and rescue it from loss. What do? We sell our time to the highest bidder and wonder why we can't get ahead. $15 an hour, $25 an hour, $50 an hour. We sell our time to the highest bidder and wonder why we can't get ahead. The scripture says we should use our time. Scripture says we should use our money to buy back our time, but instead we use our money. Instead we use our time to get money. But the scripture said we should use money to get time. How do you use money to get time? Okay, y'all may have heard them out here earlier, but my lawn care company was out here cutting my grass because I'm allergic to cutting grass, which, by the way, is not the same as being allergic to grass. Okay, anyway, so I have a lawn care company that comes by and they cut my grass every Monday. And I pay them to come and cut my grass. So now when I paid them that $95 a month, that saves me, they can do it in about 30 minutes. It would take me probably 2 hours. That saves me 2 hours of work every week. So it saves me 8 hours of work a month. So I get to buy back 8 hours of my life every single solitary month. You multiply that times a year, that's like 96 hours a year that I get to buy back from those people, and I only have to pay them $95 a month for that. So that's huge. That's what the scripture says. Now, so the law of definitions, and the last one is the law of first mention. And that is, however something is first mentioned in scripture, that's God's original design for the thing. So if we want to find out God's original design for wealth, we have to find out what God says about wealth the first time he talks about wealth in the scripture. Okay? If we want to know, like, what is the significance? What did he design it for? I've got to go back and look at how it's designed. Well, guess what? We're not just going to look at today the very first time wealth is mentioned in scripture. We're going to look at every time the substance that represents wealth. Now, what's the substance that represents wealth around the world? Always has, always will. What's the physical substance that represents wealth? Starts with a G, gold. Gold, right? So gold represents wealth. So I have to ask myself, how many times, I don't have to ask myself, but I did ask myself this question. How many times was gold mentioned in the book of Genesis? Now, I thought, Shay, it was going to be in there like 100 times, right? It's got to be in there 100 times. When I looked it up, it's not in there 100 times. You know how many times it's in there? It's in there exactly 8 times. And that's significant. Why? Because every number has significance. 1 is the number of unity, 2 is the number of separation, 3 is the number of God, 4 is the number of the earth, 5 is the number of grace, 6 is the number of man, 7 is the number of completion, 8 is the number of abundance. In fact, if you take an 8 and you turn it on its side, it is the symbol for infinity. So 8's the number of abundance, and the word gold, which represents wealth, is in the first book in the Bible exactly 8 times. Not only that, in Genesis chapter 1, God used the adjective good to describe what he had made exactly 7 times. The 8th time that God used the adjective good to describe what he had made, he was talking about gold in Genesis chapter 2, verses 11 and 12, where it says, and there's gold in that land, and the gold of that land is good. So not only do we find out, we're going to find out God's original design for wealth, but one of the things we find out is that wealth is not inherently evil. It's also not inherently neutral, but in actuality, it is inherently good. Wow. How's that for a game changer? Now, that's not the only reason we know it's good. Let's just look at, we're not going to look at all 8 times. We'll just look at some of the times. Okay, so let's look at Genesis chapter 2, verse number 11 and 12. Here's what it says. It says, and the name of the first is Pison, talking about the rivers that flowed out of the Garden of Eden. That which compasseth the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold, and the gold of that land is good. And there's bdellium and onyx stone. So we see the first time gold is mentioned, it's mentioned in Genesis chapter 2, and God tells us it's good. Now here's what we're going to find out. We're going to find out that God put gold in the Garden of Eden exactly. It's mentioned 8 times. And we're going to find there are 4 purposes that gold was used in the book of Genesis. Now here's the amazing part, if you're ready for this. Every time gold is mentioned in the book of Genesis, it is always mentioned in conjunction with God's people. Always. So which tells me, because gold is always mentioned in conjunction with God's people, that tells me that the reason God created wealth or gold or abundance on the earth, he created it for his people. The first time we see gold mentioned, we see it as the providence for God's people. God put gold in the Garden of Eden before he put Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. So he put the provision there before he put the people there. By the way, he put your provision here before he put you here too. He put your prosperity here before he put you here. Now, here's what's interesting, Shay. In the Garden of Eden, how many people were there?
3.
Well,
2 people. Yeah, 2 people. Yeah, 2 people. Yeah.
2 people. What was their relationship to each other?
Husband and wife are married.
They were married, husband and wife. Mm-hmm. So you got two people in the garden. They're husband and wife. Mm-hmm. How many stores were in the Garden of Eden?
How many stores?
Yeah, that you can buy stuff.
0?
Exactly. There's 0 stores. Now, I want you to wrap your mind around this. There are two people. They're married to each other. There are no stores. There's nothing for sale. There's nothing to buy. And yet God put gold there. And he didn't just put it there. He told us it was there. And he didn't just tell us it was there. He told us it was good. Why would God put gold in the Garden of Eden if there's nothing for sale and there's nothing to buy? And there are only two people, and their relationship is they're married to each other. Well, there's only one reason I can come up with, and that is because God wants us to understand that opulence and abundance is the natural environment for the children of the King. So the first thing we see, the first purpose of wealth is providence for God's people. So God put gold in the Garden of Eden as providence for his people. The second time we see gold mentioned in the book of Genesis, it's mentioned in Genesis chapter 13, verse number 2. Here's what it says. And Abram, that was Abraham's name before it was Abraham, and Abram was very rich in cattle and silver and gold. By the way, that's the first time the word rich is used. Now, let me ask you a question, Shay. Was Abraham a good guy or a bad guy?
Good guy.
Was he one of God's people or one of Satan's people?
God's people.
He was one of God's people. Abram was one of God's people. In fact, he was the first person chosen by God after the fall to represent God on the earth. Mm-hmm. And God told Abram, I'm going to bless you. And here's what God told Abram. He said, I'm going to make you something you can't make yourself. I'm going to give you something you can't get yourself. I'm going to bless you in ways you can't bless yourself. And in you, all the families of the earth are going to be blessed. And the first thing it tells us after God told him that is when Abram obeyed God, he believed God, counted, and he did what God said. Here's what it says. And Abram was very rich in cattle and silver and gold. So the first time the word rich is used, it's used talking about Abram, God's chosen man, which tells me that God's purpose for wealth is for his people. The first time it was for providence, which means to provide in advance. The second time it's mentioned as a possession by God's people. So there's nothing wrong with God's people possessing wealth. In fact, that is the way God set it up. This is not Myron talking, it's in the Bible. I didn't put this in here. Now, I know it doesn't go along with the Greek mythology doctrine that you've learned, and it doesn't go along with the Catholic doctrine that you've learned or the Protestant doctrine that you've learned, but the reality is it's Bible. And what's really interesting about that word rich, one of the things that the rabbis teach in Hebrew is if you take a word and you spell it forward, oftentimes if you take those same letters in that word and you flip them around backwards, it means the exact opposite. For instance, the word rich here is the word assure. Ein, shin, resh. Ein, shin, resh. That's how it's spelled. But if you take ein, shin, resh and you flip it around backwards, it spells rasha. Now, if rasha is the opposite of rich, right? Ein, assure. If rasha is the opposite of rich, Shay, let me ask you a question. What would you think that that word rasha? What would you think it means?
If it's opposite of rich?
Yeah, opposite of rich, you'd think
poor.
Poor, exactly. That's what everybody would think, right? Okay, when you take the word rich in Hebrew and you flip it around backwards, it's not the word poor. Would you like to know what the word is?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure it out. Yes.
Oh, you won't figure it out because I didn't even figure it out.
Okay.
I was shocked. It's the word evil.
Evil.
What? The opposite of rich is evil? How's that possible? Yeah. It's not saying that people who are not rich are evil. What it's saying is two things. Number one, if you do evil, you cannot expect to be rich, at least not very long. And the other thing it's saying is nations that practice evil are going to be poor nations. Societies that practice evil are going to be poor societies. Families that practice evil are going to be poor families. It's not saying that everybody that's poor is evil, but it is saying that eventually everybody who's evil is going to be poor. Or the majority of people who do evil are going to be poor. That's mind-blowing. So Abram was very rich in cattle and silver and gold. Now, I love the fact that it didn't just tell us he was rich. It told us how rich he was. He was very rich. And I love the fact that it didn't just tell us how rich he was, but it told us how he was rich. He was very rich in cattle and silver and gold. I think the reason God made sure he put that in there is because he knew some people were going to over-spiritualize it when it said Abram was very rich. And they'd say, yeah, but it's not talking about money. It's talking about a rich and godly heritage. It's not what it says. It says he was very rich in cattle and silver and gold. Abram was so rich that when his nephew Lot moved to Sodom and Gomorrah, and 5 nations came against Sodom and Gomorrah and conquered them and took the king of Sodom and the king of Gomorrah and Lot and his family hostage to take them off to be slaves in a foreign land, the scripture says Abram, this rich man, he armed the servants that were born in his house, and this businessman went out and waged war against 5 nations and won. And he brought his nephew back, and he brought the king of Sodom back, and he brought the king of Gomorrah back, and the king of Sodom and the king of Gomorrah offered Abraham a reward. Abraham said, nope, I'm not taking it. He said, I'm not going to give you the opportunity to go around telling other people you made me rich. Mm. He said, but if you want to give something to the young men and the servants that helped me rescue you, then you can give whatever you want to them. But you ain't giving nothing to me because I ain't taking it.
I'm good.
That's a level of wealth that we could all aspire to have enough that we can rescue our family from the enemy of slavery and poverty when it attacks. Anyway, okay. So that's the second. God's original design for wealth is for his people. First, we see providence for God's people. Second, we see, Second, we see provision for God's people, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, possession by God's people. Then we see wealth is used as a payment guide by God's people in Genesis chapter 24. Genesis chapter 24 and verse number 30, verse number 20. Let me go back here. Genesis chapter 24 and verse number 22 and verse number 35. Here's what it says. Verse 22 in Genesis, it says, and this is what Eleazar, Abram's servant, is going to get a bride for his son Isaac. It says, verse 22, it says, and it came to pass, the camels were done drinking, that the man took a golden earring, a half shekel in weight, and 2 bracelets for her hands, 10 shekels of weight of gold. And he said, whose daughter art thou? Tell me, I pray thee, is there room in thy father's house for us to lodge in? And she said unto him, I am the daughter of Bethuel, the son of Milcah, who she bare unto Nahor. She said, moreover, unto him, we have both straw and provender enough and room to lodge in. So she said, my father's house, my father is also rich enough that we can take care of you. Now, well, here's what happens next. We go down to verse number, what did I say, 35?
Yeah.
So Eleazar is throwing the sales pitch on the family. I asked God, he's saying, I asked God to show me who I should bring back from my master's son. And your daughter showed up and she gave me water and gave the camels water. And I knew it was her. And I put this gold on her. And then he's closing the deal right now. Verse 34 and 35. And he said, I am Abraham's servant. And the Lord hath blessed my master greatly. And he has become great, and hath given him flocks and herds and silver and gold, and men servants and maid servants and camels and asses. And Sarah my master's wife bare him a son to my master when he was old, and unto him he giveth all that he hath. He said, I am looking for a wife for my master's son, who was born when my master was old, and my master is about to leave all this inheritance with him. Rachel's parents and her brothers and her mother tried to talk her into staying. She said, Mama, I got to go. God brought me a groom, a husband, a rich husband from afar. So we see that number one, and so the servant used it as a payment by God's people as a dowry for this bride. Mm-hmm. He wasn't buying the woman, but he was giving the family a gift. Because why did they give the families gifts when somebody's daughter? Because the work that daughter did now is going to have to be done by a servant. So what they would do is they would pay a dowry to the family, so the family could afford to hire a servant to do that work that daughter used to do. Okay, then so that's the third one: providence for God's people, possession by God's people, payment by God's people, and then the last one is going to be in Genesis chapter 41, verse number 42. Here's what it says. 41 verse 42. And Pharaoh took off his ring from his hand and put it on Joseph's hand. By the way, this is the only time in the book of Genesis where it talks about somebody who's not a child of God, not one of God's people, even having gold. And I want you to notice what they're doing. The person who has the gold, I want you to notice what they're doing with it. And Pharaoh took the ring off his hand, put it on Joseph's hand, and arrayed him in vestures of fine linen and put a gold chain about his neck. It's used as a provision for God's people. When we find in the book of Genesis that a person who's not a child of God even has wealth, they are handing it over to a child of God. So we know based on the verses in the book of Genesis that God's original design for wealth is for his people. But if that's not enough for you, and I know for some of you it's not enough, let me just read a verse that just says that outright. Let me just read a verse that just says God created wealth for his people. So there's no question in anybody's mind that this is why God put wealth on the earth. Here's what it says. Ecclesiastes chapter 2, the last verse, verse number 26. Here's what it says. For God giveth to a man that is good in his sight, wisdom and knowledge and joy. So I don't want to read too fast, Shay. I don't want to throw anybody off. So Shay, let me ask you a question. What does it say God gives to a man who is good in his sight? Wisdom and knowledge and joy. What is it?
Wisdom, knowledge, and joy.
So God gives to a man that's good in his sight, wisdom and knowledge and joy. This is something God has a desire to give to his people, wisdom and knowledge and joy. And then it's but. Now, when you say this is this, but, now the word but is a conjunction, but it's a contrasting conjunction. Now he's about to show contrast, right?
Right.
Whatever he's about to say next is the exact opposite or something different than he just said. So he says, here's what it says, but to the sinner he giveth travail. Who gives travail to the sinner? God does. Mm-hmm. Why does God give the sinner travail? He gives the sinner travail to gather and to heap up. Why does God give the sinner travail to gather and to heap up? Here's what it says, that he may give to him that is good before God. That sounds pretty obvious to me. When God does give wealth or abundance to people that are not his people, the reason he's giving it to them is so they can hand it over to his people. That's what it says. And then it says, this also is vanity and vexation of spirit. The whole theme of the book of Ecclesiastes is life under the sun. If you live only for life under the sun, you've wasted your life. So it's saying that these people who've worked hard all their life to accumulate, these people who are sinners, who've worked hard to gather and to heap up their whole life, they're going to hand over their wealth to the children of God, and they've wasted their life because they've only lived their life for life under the sun. So we can see clearly that God's original design for wealth is for his people. I know some people are going to ask the question. I don't have time to answer it now, but I don't have time to prove it to you now. I'll answer it now without going into all the verses. Some people would ask the question when I just shared with you what I just shared. Some people, by the way, the scripture says clearly in the book of Proverbs, the blessing of the Lord, it maketh rich, and he addeth no sorrow with it. Well, if riches is so evil, how comes the scripture says God blesses, it's part of God's blessing, and he adds no sorrow with it? Riches without sorrow. That's called the blessing of God. That's interesting. So people are going to ask the question. You have to ask the question. I ask the same question. Well, if God created wealth for his people, why are so many evil people rich and so many of God's people are broke? You got to know people are thinking that, right, Shay?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm going to tell you why so many of God's people are broke and why so many evil people are broke. Because in the Garden of Eden, God gave Adam and Eve kingdom authority, the authority to build a kingdom for God on this earth. When Adam and Eve sinned in Genesis chapter 2, they handed over the keys to the kingdom, the principles of kingdom building, to Satan. For millennia, that's thousands of years, Satan has been empowering his people to build kingdoms and blinding God's people to the idea that they should even be building kingdoms, because Satan wants God's people broke and he wants his own people rich. And since for thousands of years he had the keys to kingdom building, his seed, his people have had millennia head start on God's people building kingdoms. When Christ died and was buried and rose again, he took back the keys to the kingdom of heaven. And do you remember what he said to Peter in Matthew chapter 16? He said, I give unto thee the keys to the kingdom of heaven. Whatsoever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven, and whatsoever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven. I don't have time to teach you what that means right now. Just know this. The keys to kingdom building have been given back to us. If we'll get our minds, when we pick up the Bible, if we'll stop looking at the Bible through religious lenses and start looking at the Bible through kingdom lenses, we will see clearly what God has developed for his people. That's God's original design for wealth.
Wow. He laid that thing out. He broke it all the way down. He's in double overtime. When we come back, which you can go real quickly, I'm going to ask Myron two things. One, about today's by January 1st. And then who does Myron work with? You're hearing Myron speak at a very deep level. You're hearing him teach at a very deep level. And you're hearing his perception at a very deep level. And the question has to be, what type of business owners does Myron Golden work with today to help them create wealth, to help them build their kingdom that he's focused on? Now, obviously this conversation can help everyone listening right now, but he can't work with everybody. He only work with a handful of folks. So we're going to come down the home stretch. We're going to come back in less than 2 minutes. We're going to do today is my January 1st. And then Myron's going to share exactly who he works with, how he helps them on stages, if that's where they are right now, and how he can help you if you're out there right now and you are a good fit for him. We'll be back in less than 2 minutes. You don't want to miss this, by the way. You don't want to miss this. I know Myron talked to people how to sell from the stage, and the stage could be a webinar now, and it could be a live event now, and it could be a conference call. He does so many things, which really makes a difference. We're going to go over now to Rob Howes. Rob Howes is down in Laurel, Maryland. He says, be present where you are, and we're coming down the home stretch. We appreciate Myron going. If everyone's out there, look, share the video one more time. If you're out there right now, you haven't hit the watch party, do that, and then put thank you, Myron. Put thank you, Myron. He's doing more than I even expected, by the way. The guy just has a heart to give, has a heart to serve, and boy, did he just lay that whole thing out on designing wealth for Christians. I didn't even see that coming. We'll be back, Myron. Thanks so much for your time, man. I know you can always make more money, and everyone can make more money, but you can never make more time. We'll be back in less than 2 minutes. Be present where you are. Take it away, Rob Howes.
Hey guys,
All right.
me and Daddy are here.
All right, I'm doing a video.
I got a question.
No, it's not a question. This is a video where I'm telling people something. I'm telling them that today is their January 1st. Today is your January 1st Happy Entrepreneurs Tribe, because today is the only day you got. Because tomorrow's not promised and yesterday is gone. So the reason why today being your January 1st is significant because it keeps you from procrastination. Procrastination is the destroyer of dreams. Yeah, it's the destroyer. It's the killer of dreams. So, take action. Be present where you're present. That's the real gift. Be present where you are present. That is the real gift. Today is your January 1st. Say today.
Today.
Say today is your January 1st.
Today is January 1st.
Say it loud.
Today is January 1st.
That's it. Don't forget it.
Well, it's a great day. My name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur, and welcome back to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the #1 business development and revenue-focused late-night show in the country where we're on a mission. That mission is to empower, that mission is to inspire, and that mission is to provide you, the entrepreneur, with all of the resources. It takes revenue, all the resources necessary to execute that vision you have for the people you were called to serve. We're here with Dr. Myron Golden himself, and we're going to a segment called Today is my January 1st. If you're out there right now, if you've been a part of this, you can look right below the video and write those words. Today is my January 1st. Today is my January 1st. I get a new start. For those that are hearing it for the very first time, today is my January 1st is one of our core values. It's one of our core beliefs. And we believe that January the 1st is any time, any moment you make a decision, and that decision could forever change the trajectory of your life. It's a restart. It's a rebirth. It's a do-over. It's a chance. Your past does not equal your future. And there's many January 1st moments throughout the day. You don't wait for January 1st. You create it. You either work out at home right now or you sit on the couch. You either eat hamburgers and French fries, or you go to the refrigerator and there's some broccoli in there. There's some Brussels sprouts and there's some celery. Oh, that sounds good for some of you guys. And some carrots. And you feel good about that. My question to Myron Golden is, when you hear those words, today is my January 1st, what goes through your mind? What does it represent to you?
Well, January 1st represents the end of the old and the beginning of the new. So what does January 1st do? Today is my January 1st means it's decision time. It's so interesting that as we look at success principles, everybody looks at, okay, what I'm going to start doing. But the reality is that everything good that comes out of our life, if our life is going in a certain direction, whether it be in our health or in our wealth or in our relationships, if we want to take it to another level, if it's going in a direction we don't desire, it's not enough just to add some good things. We got to like cut off the old. Like we got to be like, the best way to start something new that's going to work is to stop doing the old things that don't work. You know, one of the things we talked about is affirmations, right, Shay? Maybe some people, today needs to be your January 1st where you never say another profane word. Maybe today needs to be your January 1st where you never say another negative thing to your family members, to your friends. Maybe today needs to be your January 1st where every word that comes out of your mouth is an encouraging word to every single solitary person you meet, whether it be a waiter or waitress at a restaurant, whether it be the person who fixes your car, whether it be the mailman, the milkman, the dog catcher, whatever. Maybe your spouse, your wife, your husband, your children. Maybe today needs to be the day where you change the way you talk, because every word is a seed that we are sowing into the garden of our future. If I don't want to reap a bad harvest, I have to make sure I only sow good seeds. Today is your January 1st.
You know, Myron, for those folks that are listening, thanks for sharing that. And maybe wondering, what was Myron Golden's January 1st moment where he drew a line in the sand and planted his flag and said, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. This is going to work for me no matter what. You made that decision. I know there's many of those along your journey of life, but what's one that you had?
Well, the first one that I had in October of 1985. Isn't that weird that I remember the month? I don't remember the day, but I remember the month and I remember the year. Mm-hmm. That was the day that I went to an opportunity meeting with a network marketing company that sold insurance and investments called A.L. Williams. And the guy who ran the office, that regional office, his name was Bill. Bill showed me and my wife a video, and this guy fell asleep on the couch and he dreamed he was making $10,000 a month and his life changed. And I determined in that moment, and by the way, $10,000 a month in 1985 was a lot of money, a whole lot more money than $10,000 a month is now. That moment, I decided, I cut myself off from every other possibility. I'm eventually going to get to $10,000 a month. And I eventually got to $10,000 a month. It wasn't that next year. It wasn't that next month. By the way, from the time I made that decision to the time I had my first six-figure year, Shay, it was 14 years. People say, Myron, you're an overnight success. Yep, I was an overnight success, but it was a 14-year night. Now, for you, it doesn't have to be a 14-year night because we didn't have internet back then. We didn't have webinars. We so many things that we have, so many resources we have access to now that we didn't have access to back then. For me, I made a decision in that moment. I'm going to learn. This is something I'm going to do, but I wasn't good at it. It was not natural for me. It was a skill that I developed, not a talent that I was born with. And most people are unwilling to develop the skill set. We talked about mindset earlier. They're unwilling to develop the skill set of selling. And they think there's something wrong with it. Or they think it's inherently bad or yucky or whatever. But selling literally makes the world go round. So my challenge to everybody listening would be, like, you want to take your business to the next level? Do three things. Make more offers. Make better offers. Make better offers to better potential clients. That'll change your life more than any other thing in business.
Powerful. You know, Myron, as folks are listening right now, they're getting excited. They're writing, today is my January 1st. I'm going to make more offers. Today is my January 1st. I'm going to make better offers. Today is my January 1st. I'm going to make better offers to better people. And they're getting excited. Exactly what you spoke on. But here's what we know. They were excited back on December 31st. After a couple drinks on the back of a napkin, they wrote down their goals that this was going to be their year. And I don't know if you know this, but January 17th is National Ditch Your Resolution Day, by the way. So a number of folks, if you would have asked them right there, seriously, January 17th, you can Google it, is National Ditch Your Resolution Day. So if you would have asked someone today, are you on target for your resolution goals? They'd be like, huh? That was so long ago. So my question to you, Myron, is what do you share with your clients in order for them to be consistent? You've heard before that consistency is the key. Consistency is the key, Myron. Consistency is the key. But having said that, what do people struggle with? Well,
one of the best ways to be consistent is to learn to collapse time frames. And what I mean by that is there's this coaching client of mine. She's a homeschool mom out of Houston, Texas, and she wanted to buy my $155,000 coaching program. At the time, I discounted it down for her to $40,000. Only problem was, she put down $2,000 deposit, and she wanted me to finance it. But in order for me to finance it, she would have to come up with $20,000 half down, and then we pay the rest in weekly payments, right? So, and I don't discount it down to $40,000 anymore. But this happened a couple years ago, and so she called me on the phone one day after she put her $2,000 down. She thought she was going to be able to borrow the money. She couldn't borrow. She thought she was going to be able to get money out of a trust. She couldn't get money out of a trust. But she did something that very few people do. She called me on the phone. She said, "Hey, Myron, I really want to work with you. I thought I was going to be able to get money from here. I couldn't get it. Thought I was going to be able to get money from there. I couldn't get it. What do I do? I really want to work with you." And I said to her, "If you will do what I'm about to tell you, in 30 days, you will have the rest, $18,000, what she needed to make her initial down payment. If you do what I tell you to do, you will have your money. You will have the money to pay me in 30 days. And she needed $18,000. So here's what I told her, Shay. I said, what you've got to do is you got to collapse time frames. And when I say collapse time frames, you've got to make more offers. Take the number of offers you ordinarily do in a year, and do that many orders in the next offers in the next 30 days. Take the number of offers you make in a year, make that number of offers in the next 30 days. Take the number of offers you usually make in 30 days, make that number of offers in the next 7 days. Take the number of offers you usually do in 7 days, make that number of offers every day for the next 7 days. Then for the next 23 days after that, and in 30 days, you'll have the money." As I live and breathe, Shay, she called me up in 6 days and she said, "Myron, I have the money." By collapsing time frames and making more offers, she took her life to another level. But I'm going to tell you something else. Let me tell you about one of my January 1st moments that I had in January. Okay. I travel a lot, as you know, and I've got a schedule that can be fairly intense. And the last quarter of last year was busier than any other 2 quarters I've ever had put together. And so I've got some rental property in Pennsylvania, and I was in the process of getting a mortgage here in Florida on a house here in Florida. And, I've got plenty of money in the bank and an 800 credit score, blah, blah, blah. So getting a mortgage wouldn't be a problem. But literally, I think January 27th, I decided, well, you know what? I need to buy my wife a new car. Well, you know what? I probably should buy myself a new car too. So my brother, who has a dealership, we get online. He gets online. He finds 2 matching Mercedes, right? The GLE Coupe series. So find a white one for my wife, a blue one for myself, and they were like 2 years old. So because I don't believe in buying new cars because it's like flushing money down the toilet. I don't like flushing money down. The one I was getting for my wife had 13,000 miles on it. The one I was getting for me had 34,000 miles on it. They were both practically brand new. 2017, 2018 Mercedes G Coupe, right? So anyway, it's a crossover. So basically, these 2 cars together were a little over $100,000. So I said, okay, well, I'm just going to go he ordered them. I'll just go to the bank and get a loan. It'll be no problem. So I went to the bank and they said, "Sorry, you got declined." I got, "What?" "Oh yeah, you got declined." It's $100,000. Like, how am I getting declined? I got 800 credit score. And it wasn't 800, it was 790. I got like, I don't keep all of my money in the bank. I keep most of my money in investments, but I had $300,000-$400,000 in the bank. So it's like, what do you mean? Okay, anyway, so I said, I'll just go to a different bank. I'll go to my bank. Went to my bank, they denied me. What? What's going on? Now, you got to understand, I have a deal to buy this house. I've got to close on this mortgage on this house by the end of February. And in January, I'm doing all these inquiries to buy these cars, and everybody's turning me down. This is crazy. This doesn't make any sense. So I said, okay, what am I going to do? Okay. Found out what happened was in January when I paid the mortgage on my rental property in Pennsylvania, somehow or another I forgot to get my confirmation and the payment didn't go through. And so I was 30 days late on a mortgage right before I attempted to buy these 2 cars. So the banks weren't going to loan me any money. I'm thinking, oh snap. So the banks aren't loaning me money to buy these stupid $100,000 worth of cars. Maybe they won't loan me enough money to buy this $400,000 house, $450,000 house. What am I going to do? Well, I guess I got to go make enough money that in case they don't loan me the money to buy the house, I'll just be able to pay cash for it, and then I can go borrow the money out of it later. So I decided in January, what I'm going to do is I've got to do at least $400,000 in sales this month. So I can make sure. So I ended up having to pay cash for the cars, which I don't even believe in doing. I always believe in using the bank's money. But I ended up taking $120 something out of my checking account to pay for these cars. I'm like, oh snap. Then I've got to make enough money to buy this house. So I got, okay, I'm just going to make enough money to just pay cash for the house in case they don't own. I'm still going to fill out the mortgage loan, the application, but in case they don't loan it to me, I'm going to go make enough money to pay cash for the house. So guess what I did, Shay?
What's that?
Are you ready? I have my most premium offer is called Myron Golden's Royal Family. It's the Royal Family offer. Okay, where I take people from making a couple $1 million a year to making over $10 million a year. That offer sells for $1 million. So what I did in January, so that I could make sure I closed on that house, was I closed $1 million sale plus a bunch of $30,000 sales. So we did over $1 million in sales, so that I could make sure I was going to be able to close on my house in February. I just made a decision. I'm going to make more offers. I'm going to make better offers. I'm going to make better offers to better people, to the people who they fit, not better people like some people are better and some people are worse. I'm going to make better offers to people those offers match, right? And I ended up closing $1 million offer in January, plus a bunch of $35,000 offers. So we ended up doing way more than we needed to do. We did over $1.1 million in sales in January, and we're able to go ahead and, if we needed to, write a check for the house. But ended up, we got approved for the mortgage. I explained to them what happened with the mortgage in Pennsylvania, got it all caught up. I mean, I just sent a check and got it caught up. And so they were like, oh, well, that happens, blah, blah, blah. And so we ended up not even needing to do that. So we ended up creating a surge in revenue and a surge in cash reserves because of this, quote, this contributing factor that happened to me, right, outside of me. I determined inside of me, this is what I'm going to do about it. So that was a January 1st moment that happened for me in January.
That is powerful. I love it. I love it. For those folks that are listening right now, they want to know, how can they connect with Myron Golden? First, Myron, the type of client you're looking for, I'll say that. And then how can they connect with you? How can they see if it's a good fit for them, for where they are?
Yeah. So if you want to work with me, you need to be an entrepreneur who is an author, a speaker, a coach, an agency owner, and you're making your business revenue is somewhere between $150 and $3 million a year. If you're making less than $150,000 a year, like, could you work with me? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I don't have any inexpensive, low cost offers. Like, it's going to cost a significant amount of money, fairly significant amount of money to work with me. Not nearly as much as a lot of my clients make the first time they implement some of the stuff that I'm going to teach you. But you need to be a player. You need to have a real business, not somebody who's looking to start a business. I've got some stuff for you too, but that's not who I focus my one-on-one and group coaching attention on. I'm looking for people who are under monetizing the resources they have. Speakers, authors, coaches, agency owners, consultants. Those are the people, and you're doing at least $150,000 a year in revenue. It's better if you're doing $250,000 a year in revenue to, a couple of million. I can help get you to your next place in short order. And the three primary ways that I do that. One is through teaching you how to create more continuity cash flow so you can have thousands of dollars a day coming in. Two is I teach you how to sell more high ticket offers. And high ticket to me is, $25,000 up to $1 million. It's like the conversation I had with you and Trevor that time. I said, hey, have you guys sold any $50,000 or $60,000 offers? And you said no. I said, share with you why? And you said, sure. I said, because you don't have a $50,000 or $60,000 offer to offer. Isn't that what I said?
That's exactly what you said. And we went out based on your feedback and based on your guidance, went out and created a $60,000 offer, true story. And 3 months later, we sold a $60,000 offer because that was a solution to someone who had a $60,000 plus problem.
Exactly. So that's what I do. I teach people how to sell high ticket, and then I teach people how to sell from the stage and teach them how to sell high ticket from the stage. Now, a lot of speakers, like if you're a speaker right now and you did $250,000 last year in revenue, $300,000, $500,000, like I can help you so much. Like right now when hotels are like canceling events, we had an event, me and some collaborative partners of mine had an event scheduled for Dallas this past weekend. We were supposed to do it Friday and Saturday. We had already sold over 250 tickets, but hotels got shut down in Dallas. We couldn't do it. So what are we going to do? Well, we did. we thought on our feet. We said, that's a contributing factor. We've got a determining factor. What are we going to do? I tell you what, why don't we turn it into a digital event? That way we don't have to give a refund. So we turned it into a digital event. Then once we turned it into a digital event, we offered more tickets. We sold 90 more tickets at $100 a piece for our digital event. Then we sold over 350 tickets total. We sold over 350 tickets total. We had 280 people on at the high point and about 250 to 60 people on throughout the entire 2-day event. All day Friday from 9 in the morning to 6:30 or 7 o'clock at night. Same thing on Saturday. And we created a collaborative coaching program, and we made that offer for $10,000. We had people apply for it on Friday. We had 104 people apply, and we've got our coaches calling people and closing sales. And so far from that event, we had no hotel expense, we had no plane fare expense, we had no sleeping rooms, no restaurant, no the usual events, the usual expenses that we didn't have to ship any stuff across the country. We had none of the expenses that are usually associated with doing live events. And we did the live event as a live event. We didn't do it as a webinar. We did it as a live event, just like you do a live event in a room, except it was a Zoom room, right? And so with that live event, we did an application, 104 applicants, and then we did the offer, $10,000 offer. And then when we did that $10,000 offer, we did so far we've done, last I checked, I haven't even checked today, but as of this morning, we were at $260,000 in sales from that live event. So while everybody else is panicking, we're getting paid. Why? Because we were focused on what we're going to do, not what's happening out there in the world, not what other people are doing. We're just focusing on, okay, what can we do? What can we do to serve at a higher level? What can we do to help people? And we did it. We made the offer. We had no idea how it was going to turn out, except we knew we were going to do our best to serve people at the highest possible level. And we ended up doing, like I said, so far, over $260,000 in sales. I mean, think about that. And there were 3 of us with the event, so we split that 3 ways. We will probably, my guess is we'll probably end up somewhere between 40 and 60 sales, which is somewhere between $400,000 and $600,000. We split that 3 ways, and we coach those people through the next year in achieving their goals in the arena that we're coaching them in, and everybody's happy, and everybody's better, and the world's a better place. So my encouragement to you is stop looking at what's happening, stop looking at what other people are doing, and start focusing on what can you do about it.
I love that. And what's the website that they can go to if they just want to see if it's for them, they want to apply?
Yeah, if they want to apply, like if you want to apply and see if you qualify to work with me, it doesn't cost anything to apply. But if you're making less than, if your business revenue is less than $150,000 a year, this is not for you.
Right.
Like this is not for you. And it's like that's just, I mean, you're just barely scratching the surface if you are doing 150,000 revenue. If you're doing 250,000 revenue, if you're doing 3 million in revenue, oh, I got you. We can help you multiply that. So go to www.stagesellingSecrets.com. www.stagesellingSecrets.com.
So it's www.stagesellingSecrets.com. I see I pulled it up here. And once they get there, they click the button. It looks like apply to see if you qualify. And then from there, obviously you said you want to make at least $150,000, preferably $250,000 and above. Then it looks like there's a process.
There is a process. You have to fill out an application, and you'll talk to one of our coaches and see if you qualify. They'll ask you some questions about your business. And if you got the right answers, maybe you'll end up like some of these folks on this site. So sometimes in browsers, some websites work, some websites don't work. You go ahead and pull it up. I know Shay was able to pull it up.
Yeah, I got it up right now. They're looking at it right now, even as I'm speaking. So the website does work. Someone do us a favor. Look right below the video and type the website, www.stage. Was it again?
StageSellingSecrets.com.
StageSellingSecrets.com. But www.StageSellingSecrets.com. But again, only apply if you're at least $150,000, preferably $250,000 or above, and you're ready to go to the next step.
Right.
Is that
that's right. Because if you're making less than that, then that's not for you. If you're making less money than that, and you just want to learn some stuff from me, like you can follow me on Instagram at Myron Golden. If you just want to learn from me, like some basic stuff, and you're just getting started in business, and you're not at the level yet where you're ready to level up to get to $100,000 a month or $1 million a month or whatever, if you're not at that level, then what you got to do, just follow me on Instagram or join our Bible study Facebook group or whatever. But you're not ready for stage selling secrets if you're not already doing at least $150,000 a year in revenue.
Makes a lot of sense. I'm going to ask Myron to go ahead and if he'll share his closing comments with us. I want to first thank him because he spent a lot of time. He spent some time pouring out. He understands the sense of urgency. He understands where we are, and he has a big heart to give and a big heart to serve. But more importantly, he came in to make a difference in your life. So there's two things I want you to do. Number one, if you're watching right now, if you happen to be on social media and you haven't, go ahead and hit the like button. Follow us at the Happy Entrepreneur Show. We would love to have you part of this community of entrepreneurs that are here to provide the resources to other entrepreneurs that are out there. If you haven't hit the watch party button or the share button, hit that now. Hit that share button now and put "It's Your Time." #Let's go with Myron Golden. It's your time. Pay this message forward. Yes, there's a replay. So many are putting notes below, and I know these videos go viral. They happen often. I get that, but it's not about your name being associated with something that's viral. It's about you blessing someone else. It's about you paying this message forward. It's about the giver's economy. The person out gives the competition out earns the competition. The person out gives the competition out earns the competition. I'm going to turn over to Myron in about a minute here just to give his closing comments, his closing thoughts to empower, to inspire you as you go out there and do what you need to do. Others of you, as you're listening right now, you're thinking, yeah, I make over $250,000. And yeah, this is a different type of conversation that I'm used to. It's not just about my funnels and ClickFunnels and this funnels and Infusionsoft. It's all about how do I not only process my brain power, how do I make more offers, how do I make better offers, and how do I make better offers to more qualified folks, which is exactly what you're probably thinking right now. And for you, you're over at Stage Selling Secrets because you make over $150,000 of money that goes to your bank account or more, and you're ready to raise your standards and go to that next level. And Myron, well, without a doubt, not only is Myron, but he and his whole company, they're the ones to get you there. So I want to first say thank you. By the way, for everyone that's out there, look right below the video as we close out and just put thank you, Myron. We appreciate you, Myron. Share one of your takeaways. Folks often read these comments. They really do it. I appreciate every comment that you made. I appreciate every thought that you had. I appreciate every share button. Every time you hit the heart button, it means something to us. Every time you hit the like button, without you, there is no show. So we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Myron Golden, if you would, again, go ahead and share your closing thoughts, man. Any comments you have? Is we got to go out here now. These lights are going to go off, right? And at some point, people got to go back to work. What are your final thoughts and comments, my man? Thank you again so much.
First of all, I want to say thank you and congratulations to everybody watching the show right now. I want to say thank you to you, Shay, and to the Happy Entrepreneur Show. This has been a blast. Don't do what everybody else is doing. If you do what everybody else is doing, you're going to get what everybody else has. What everybody else is doing is panicking. What everybody else is having is anxiety attacks. Do something different. Instead of looking at what's wrong in the world, look at what value you can provide for other people. And then when you figure out what that value is, go out and make more offers. And then once you make more offers, go out and make better offers. And then when you make better offers to better qualified people for those offers. And I'm telling you, when you do that, it will take your life to a level that previously you only dreamed about. I want to congratulate all of you. Why? Because while everybody else is sitting around watching Netflix, you're watching the Happy Entrepreneur Show. And when you're watching the Happy Entrepreneur Show, it's teaching you things that can help you make your life better, help you make your family's life better, help you make your world better, because we were all created to live in our creative space and make the world a better place. Go out and let that be your mantra. Thank you, Shay.
With that being said, thank you all for watching. We appreciate you. I want you to know that today is your January 1st. You can make better offers. Today is your January 1st. You can make better offers to better people. And today is your January 1st. You can control the controllables and make a difference for your life, for your loved ones, and for the community you care the most about. This is your time. This is your time. And for you, I know with 100% certainty, the best is still yet to come. With that being said, for those folks that are watching and want to know who in the LL Cool J is screaming all that, my name, by the way, is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. And I promise you from the bottom of my heart, we'll make some good things happen when we connect again next time, because time is long, but life is short. Make every moment count. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye for now. God bless. Thanks a lot, Myron. You rock, man.
Thank you, Shay.
And thank y'all for watching. You guys are all rock stars. father made to my mom. I only did this message for one person, and that's my mom. This is for you, Mom. Love you. My name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Shay Brown.
Mic check, mic check.
All I do is win, no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up.
Yes. Yeah.
And they stay there, and they stay there, and they stay there. Cause all I do is win. Yeah.
Thank you. God bless.